Hi guys, Miss Devlin. We're going to be talking about 11, a short story by Sandra Cisneros today. I put our essential questions in here just so we could remind ourselves about them while we are reading it. They are, what are the ways you can make yourself heard? How do personal experiences shape the way we express ourselves? And how can literature and poetry give voice to individuals and communities? I'm going to do a little mini lesson on point of view. So we're going to talk about first person point of view. So this is going to be where we get one character's thoughts, feelings, and actions. And this is going to be where the narrator, the speaker, uses pronouns like I, me, my, and mine. Okay, we are going to second person point of view. This is where the narrator or the speaker uses you a lot. This kind of immerses the reader into the story a little better. One of those kind of like pick your own adventure ones. Um, and third person limited is going to be where we have one character's um, thoughts and feelings and we are kind of limited on other characters' actions. And for third person omniscient point of view, this is going to be where we get all characters' thoughts, feelings, and actions. All right, we're going to scroll down, look at our background for Sandra Cisneros. So this says Sandra Cisneros, born 1954, writes award-winning poetry, novels, essays, and short stories for children and adults. The Mexican-American writer and her six brothers grew up in Chicago and Mexico. Her first novel, the award-winning The House on Mango Street, gives readers a glimpse of her family's Chicago neighborhood. It has been translated into more than 20 languages. Her writing is popular among readers, young and old, because they recognize themselves in her characters and their experiences. So we're going to go ahead and highlight her name. We're going to go ahead and highlight that she is a Mexican American writer, and that she grew up in Chicago and Mexico. It's also important to note that her first novel has been translated into more than 20 languages. That is a huge feat for a writer, especially for a first novel. And people are reading her novels because they recognize themselves in her characters and their experiences. I'm going to give you just a little bit more information on Sandra Cisneros and the types of characters that she writes. So she presents characters that mainly live on the border between the United States and Mexico. And they mainly all struggle with the same things. They are going to struggle with their identities, their heritage, and circumstances. All right, we're going to scroll down. It says, as you read, pay attention to how the narrator feels and the clues that help you understand why she feels the way that she does. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in. I'm going to start reading. What they don't understand about birthdays and what they never tell you is that when you're 11, you're also 10 and 9 and 8 and 7 and 6 and 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. And when you wake up on your 11th birthday, you expect to feel 11, but you don't. You open your eyes and everything's just like yesterday, only it's today. And you don't feel 11 at all. You feel like you're still 10, and you are underneath the year that makes you 11. Like some days you might say something stupid, and that's the part of you that's still 10. Or maybe some days you might need to sit on your mama's lap because you're scared, and that's the part of you that's 5. And maybe one day when you're all grown up, maybe you will need to cry like if you're 3, and that's okay. That's what I tell Mama when she's sad and needs to cry. Maybe she's feeling 3. So I'm going to go ahead, grab our pink. We are definitely going to highlight that first sentence because this is the first time we get the speaker talking directly to us as readers. And then we're also going to highlight that you open your eyes and everything's just like yesterday, only it's today. We can also highlight this right here. Some days you might say something stupid. That's the part of you that's 10. Or some days you might need to sit on your mom's lap because you're scared, and that's the part of you that's 5. And if you need to cry like you're 3, that's okay. And that's what she tells her mom when she's sad and needs to cry, that maybe she's feeling 3. All right, we'll start here. Because the way you grow old is kind of like an onion, or like the rings inside a tree trunk, or like my little wooden dolls that fit one inside the other, each year inside the next one. That's how being 11 years old is. You don't feel 11, not right away. It takes a few days, weeks even, sometimes even months before you say 11 when they ask you. And you don't feel smart 11, not until you're almost 12. That's the way it is. Okay, it's important to note each year inside the next one. And we are also going to grab our blue because she says the way you grow old is kind of like an onion, or like rings inside a tree trunk, or like my little wooden dolls. That right there, we can go ahead and label as figurative language, and it's a simile. We can also grab our purple when she says you don't feel 11 and you don't feel smart 11, not until you're almost 12, and that's just the way it is. All right, paragraph 5. Only today, I wish I didn't have only 11 years rattling inside me like pennies in a tin Band-Aid box. Today, I wish I was 102 instead of 11, because if I was 102, I'd have known what to say when Mrs. Price put the red sweater on my desk. I would have known how to tell her it wasn't mine instead of just sitting there with that look on my face and nothing coming out of my mouth. So we can go ahead and grab our blue again, um, where she says, I wish I didn't have only 11 years rattling inside me like pennies in a Band-Aid box. Again, this is going to be a simile. We can go back up to markup. Now we're learning some things about our main character. We're learning some things about our narrator. Um, and also we get a new character of Miss Price. I'm going to go ahead and assume, or we can infer that Miss Price is going to be her teacher. And we can go ahead and highlight what she wishes, that instead of her 11th birthday, she wishes that it was her 102nd birthday. And we can highlight, I would have known what to tell her or how to tell her it wasn't mine. And I wouldn't have had that look on my face with nothing coming out of my mouth. Um, so we obviously know that she puts a red sweater on her desk, and we know that the narrator is not speaking up to tell Mrs. Price that it is not hers. So we can go ahead and take our green and we can make a little note about our narrator. We can say that the narrator is frustrated because she does not have the courage to speak up and tell Miss Bryce that the sweater is not hers. Okay, we're going to scroll down a little bit. Paragraph 6. Whose is this? Miss Price says, and she holds the red sweater up in the air for all the class to see. Whose? It's been sitting in the coat room for a month. Not mine, says everybody, not me. It has to belong to somebody, Miss Price keeps saying, but nobody can remember. It's an ugly sweater with red plastic buttons and a collar and sleeves all stretched out like you could use it for a jump rope. It's maybe 1,000 years old, and even if it belonged to me, I wouldn't say so. So we're going to pause it just right there for a minute. We're going to go back up to our markup. We're going to take our blue again. She says it's an ugly sweater with red plastic buttons and a collar and sleeves all stretched out like you could use it for a jump rope. We're going to go back to our green here, and we are going to highlight that it's maybe 1,000 years old, even if it belonged to me. I wouldn't say so. This is telling about our narrator, right? She's timid, she's insecure, she's lacking confidence. So we're going to grab our text box, we're going to put it here. We're going to say she is insecure, timid, which just means shy, or lacking confidence. We're going to keep reading at 9. Maybe because I'm skinny, maybe because she doesn't like me. That stupid Sylvia Saldivar says, I think it belongs to Rachel. An ugly sweater like that, all raggedy and old, but Miss Price believes her. Miss Price takes the sweater and puts it right on my desk, but when I open my mouth, nothing comes out. So we're going to go back up here. Now we know that our narrator, her name is Rachel, and we get another character, Sylvia Saldivar, and we get that maybe she doesn't like Rachel. Um, we can't know that for sure because, this is in first person. So we're going to put that first person limits the reader's ability to tell if Sylvia actually does not like Rachel. We're going to start right here at paragraph 10. That's not, I don't, you're not, not mine, I finally say in a little voice that was maybe me when I was 4. Of course it's yours, Miss Price says. I remember you wearing it once. Because she's older and the teacher, she's right and I'm not. Not mine, not mine, not mine. But Miss Price is already turning to page 32 in math problem number 4. I don't know why, but all of a sudden I'm feeling sick inside, like the part of me that's 3 wants to come out of my eyes. Only I squeeze them shut tight and bite down on my teeth real hard and try to remember. Today I am 11. 11. Mama is making a cake for me tonight, and when Papa comes home, everybody will sing happy birthday to you. We're going to stop right there for a second, go back, grab our markup. She says she feels like the part of her that's 3 wants to come out of her eyes, right? So again, that's going to be some of our figurative language. We can go ahead and grab our pink again, and we can highlight that she doesn't know why she's feeling sick, but this is what she does when she does feel sick. And she tries to remember that today's her birthday and that everything is going to be okay. I'm going to mark this with pink, but I'm also going to draw under it a line of blue because to me, when I read happy birthday to you, I instantly can picture how, my family sings happy birthday. Is it different from how your family sings happy birthday? Probably. Uh, Everyone has their own little version of how happy birthday goes. So we're going to put our pink text box right here. Um, we know that she's trying hard, not to be silenced. She's upset because she is not speaking up and saying, hey, it's not mine. So she's probably a little embarrassed and she feels silenced um, by Miss Price, right? For believing Sylvia and not listening to Rachel. All right, we're gonna go to 13. I'm probably just gonna read all the way through until right here, and then we'll annotate this big part together. But when the sick feeling goes away and I open my eyes, the red sweater's still sitting there, like a big red mountain. I move the red sweater to the corner of my desk with my ruler. I move my pencil and books and eraser as far from it as possible. I even move my chair a little to the right. Not mine, not mine, not mine. In my head, I'm thinking, how long till lunchtime? How long till I can take the red sweater and throw it over the schoolyard fence, or leave it hanging on a parking meter, or bunch it up into a little ball and toss it in the alley? Except when math period ends, Miss Price says loud and in front of everybody, "Now, Rachel, that's enough." Because she sees I've shoved the red sweater to the tippy tip corner of my desk and it's hanging all over the edge like a waterfall. But I don't care. "Rachel," Miss Price says. She says it like she's getting mad. "You put that sweater on right now and no more nonsense." All right, we're going to go back to our markup. We are going to take our purple, this not mine, not mine, not mine. This is going to be our first instance of like real internal conflict. She is grappling or conflicted by her inability to speak up, right? She wants to, but she feels like she can't. Um, we are going to pay special attention to this part right here. She wants to take the red sweater and throw it over the fence, or leave it hanging on a parking meter, or bunch it up into a little ball and toss it in the alley. Um, this is obviously a shift in tone, right? She goes from trying to keep herself calm, cool, and collected to now she's getting aggressive, right? She's getting angry. She's getting more upset. Um, and then we scroll down here and we get the Rachel. Now, Rachel, that's enough. She's probably getting angry because she feels like, Rachel feels like Sylvia is the reason she is getting in trouble. When really, it's just because she needs to find the confidence, right? She needs to find her voice. She needs to be able to speak up for herself. We're going to go back up here, grab our markup. We can go to blue because it is hanging all over the edge like a waterfall. Again, our figurative language, it's a simile. Um, and then we get this, "but I don't care" part. We're going to focus on this for a second, "but I don't care." Um, this is going to show us a different side of Rachel. Again, she is being stubborn, right? She is pushing it to the corner of her desk. She is being hard-headed. She is not going to take the sweater. All right, we'll go down here. All right. "But it's not. Now," Miss Price says. "This is when I wish I wasn't 11, because all the years inside of me, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, are pushing at the back of my eyes when I put one arm through one sleeve of the sweater that smells like cottage cheese, and then the other arm through the other, and stand there with my arms apart, like if the sweater hurts me, and it does, all itchy and full of germs that aren't even mine." We're going to take our blue. She says that all of the years inside of her are pushing at the back of her eyes. Again, this is our figurative language. We can go ahead and label this one. Um, it's going to be personification. Patient and a metaphor. Um, this just means that she wants to cry, right? And the feeling is immense. Like all those years that came before 11 are pushing at the backs of her eyes. Um, we're gonna grab our green. She puts one arm through one sleeve and then the other arm through the other, and she stands there like the sweater hurts her. And we're gonna change our color to green to match our annotation. She's reacting negatively, right? But we can only assume or we can infer that it's because it smells weird. It's tattered, right? It's falling apart. Um and now everyone thinks that the sweater is Rachel's. Again, leading to that embarrassment, right? Like her teacher has now made her put on this sweater that smells funny. It's got holes in it. She didn't want to wear it in the first place, but now she is. All right, we're gonna pick up right here, 19. That's when everything I've been holding in since this morning, since when Miss Price put the sweater on my desk, finally lets go. And all of a sudden, I'm crying in front of everybody. I wish I was invisible, but I'm not. I'm 11 and it's my birthday today, and I'm crying like I'm 3 in front of everybody. I put my head down on the desk and bury my face in my stupid clown sweater arms, my face all hot and spit coming out of my mouth because I can't stop the little animal noises from coming out of me until there aren't any more tears left in my eyes, and it's just my body shaking, like when you have the hiccups, and my whole head hurts, like when you drink milk too fast. So we're going to come over here, grab our markup, and go to purple. Um, She's crying in front of the entire class. It is her birthday. She wishes that she was invisible, but she feels like she's not. She thinks everybody is staring at her. Um, she's saying it's her birthday and I'm 11, but I'm crying like I'm 3 in front of everyone. And she even says that she's gonna bury her face in her stupid clown sweater arms and that, there are no more tears left in her eyes and it's just her body shaking. So she's obviously really, really, really upset. She is sobbing. She is, distraught. She is very, very embarrassed. This is not how she thought her birthday was going to go, I'm sure, that things are not going according to plan. It's it's her birthday, and she can't tell the teacher that this ugly sweater is hers. I'm just going to drag this up a little bit. All right, we're going to pick up at 20 and just read through the rest because this is the end of the short story. All right, it says, but the worst part is right before the bell rings for lunch. That stupid Phyllis Lopez, who is even dumber than Sylvia Saldivar, says she remembers the red sweater is hers. I take it off right away and give it to her. Only Miss Price pretends like everything's okay. Today I'm 11. There's a cake Mama's making for tonight, and when Papa comes home from work, we'll eat it. There will be candles and presents, and everybody will sing happy birthday to you, Rachel. Only it's too late. I'm 11 today. I'm 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. But I wish I was 102. I wish I was anything but 11, because I want today to be far away already. Far away like a runaway balloon, like a tiny O in the sky. So tiny, tiny, you have to close your eyes to see it. So, We're gonna grab our markup in green, and now we have Phyllis Lopez, who's even dumber than Sylvia Saldivar, and she is the one who is the owner of the sweater. And then we get this only Miss Price pretends like everything's okay. So for Rachel, even though now that now that the situation is resolved with the sweater, that does not mean that Rachel does not feel the same about this day. And we're going to go back up to markup. We are going to take our pink and do this final like lesson for her, right? She thinks it's too late. And then she says, I wish I was anything but 11 because I want today to be far away already. Far away like a runaway balloon, like a tiny O in the sky. So tiny, tiny, you have to close your eyes to see it. We're going to grab our pink to match. We're going to put our text box here. You know, Rachel still thinks that her birthday is ruined. Um, she must feel invisible because no one was listening to her, even when she tried to speak up and was unsuccessful. Um, she definitely did not think her birthday was going to go like this. She definitely did not want her birthday to go like this. Um, she's a young girl. She is struggling with her emotions. She is struggling to find her voice. She is struggling to be heard. And now, for Sandra Cisneros, this is maybe a way for her to give herself a voice even after the fact. And that she's sharing this personal experience with us to help, us infer the way that um, she was, raised or the way that she grew up. And that experience has shaped the way that she is going to express herself now as an adult, speaking about her childhood.